Hi students, today I'm going to show you how to do the aerial view snow person art project. And this video is the first part of the project, which is creating the background and the body of the snow person. So what you'll need today is your blank piece of paper and your two sheets of paper with circles on them, a white crayon. If you don't have a white crayon, you should from Project Cornerstone from Miss Cecily. But if you don't, or you can't find it, you can substitute it with a candle. If you have a small candle that can act like a crayon, that works. And then a jar of water, a paintbrush, and your watercolors from school. This is just an old palette that I have. So first what we're going to do is take our crayon or even our candle, and we're going to make, we're going to do a water resist painting, a watercolor resist painting. So what we're going to do, it's kind of hard to see what's happening because the white blends into the white paper, but it'll be magical when we paint it. So you can do designs that look like circles that are coiled like a snail, or fireworks or snowflakes. Just make an X and then another line through it, through the middle, to make it look like a snowflake. So I'll show you how the if I was using a candle, how it would work. So I did one right there. So if I did the circular one, I would do that. If I was doing the kind of snowflakey one, I'll do that. And I'll show you what happens when you paint over it. Then it resists the wax and the watercolor goes into the paper, but it doesn't where you left your crayon or wax marks, and your design shows up. So you're going to make those designs all over your white piece of paper, and this is your background paper. So eventually we're going to put a snowman on top, and I'll put a picture which you'll see when you start this video, at the front. So, or I hope I can do that. So let's continue and make the background. If you want to do all of this design, you can, or if you want to do all of the circular design, you can. That would be great. Just whatever your preference is. So I think I'm going to do a combination. So if you're going to use the candle, you would just go like that. I wouldn't use this part because the wick, the string in the middle, isn't going to leave any wax. It's just the wax part that will. So use this side. But hopefully you should have your crayon. And then just make those marks all over. And take your time, go slowly, do a careful job. And you can kind of see it if you tilt your head where you're making those marks, because the light kind of catches the wax. That's kind of a fun project, is making these designs. And you can make, there doesn't have to be a ton of them. So if it was really snowing, just try and imagine what the snowflakes would look like in the sky. It wouldn't be covered completely where you can see, well, maybe it would be in a snowstorm, but if we wanted some blue in the background, then you can do a little fewer. Okay, So then you can tilt your paper, see how much you've covered. And your snow person will probably be in the middle. So it might be a good idea to do more on the outside. Okay, I think I have it to how I want it. Just add some on the sides. So the next part is you're going to get your blue water color palette and get it really wet with some water in your brush. And then just start painting over your background and it will resist. And then you can, without adding more color, you can just dip your brush into the water and add some more. And then you're gonna cover your whole paper. And if for some reason you lost your palette or you run out of blue, I'm kind of running out of my blue, but I'll have enough. Watercolors go a long way. Oh, that's our dog in the background. You could, if you have any food coloring, you could just add a couple drops too. A tiny bit of water to make some watercolor. Just be careful if you get it on anything because it might not be as washable. So this is our snowy background for our snow person. And Benji wants to go out, but his door is open. Okay, so I have about 1/3 of it done. So I'm gonna keep on going. Until it's all the way covered. Our dog is a little older, so sometimes he gets confused or he doesn't want to go out. But maybe he'll problem solve and go out the other door to get out. Let's see what he does. My husband just opened the door for him. Okay, so I'm continuing just to dip my brush in and paint it. For the snowy background. He ended up not wanting to go outside even though he was crying by the door. So we might hear him again. Maybe he was crying at something he thought or that he heard outside. Okay, so I'm almost done. And then we're gonna let this dry and do the next part of our project. Watercolors usually dry pretty quickly. Okay, so the background, and if you get something on your surface, if it's a hard surface, it will just wipe it pretty easily. So I'm not being too careful. Because the palette from school, I believe, is very washable. All right. You want to kind of okay, so there's our wintry background that our snow person will go on. So now we'll set it aside and dry. Okay, so the next part is to bring out one of your papers with the pre-drawn circle on it. And what we're going to do is we're going to dip our brush in the water, and then without any paint on it, it might have a little from painting the background, I'm just gonna trace around the edge of the circle. Okay, so go around. Try and get more water on the inside of the circle. Okay, then you're gonna dip your brush in the watery blue and then kind of just tap the watery marks. That you made on the inside. And the color just moves around a little bit more, kind of fans out, bleeds out. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be straight. This is going to be the edge of our snow person. And remember, we're doing an aerial view of a snow person, so we're looking down on its body like we're in an airplane and looking down. And so this gives dimension. So this looks like the sides. So we can tell that the snow person is rounded. Okay, so after you get finished that one, we'll move on to the two smaller circles. And same thing, we're gonna get our brush with just water and go around the inside a couple times. Make sure it's really wet. Even you can do it a third time. And then dip your brush in the watery blue paint. Make sure it's really watery. And then, so when you tap it on, it's not really fanning out too much, so I'm gonna add some water to my brush and then tap the water. Tap the paint. So it kind of fans out. Okay, so this came out a little bit darker than our other one, and that's okay. If you want to lighten it up, you can add a lot of water and then blot it with a paper towel or a tissue or something, but I think I'll just move a little bit of the ink out because we're going to cut on that black line. So everything on the outside of the black line will be cut off. So if I want to get rid of some of the ink, I can just move it out a little bit after I tap it with my wet brush. Because I want kind of my snow person to have the same colors. It's a little bit darker, but that's okay. All right, and then I'll move on to my next circle. So again, getting it really wet. Maybe I'll go in sections this time. So we'll do a little curve of water here Then tap this in. Then tap some water. And try and move this around. Add some more water. Move it around. Get some more clear water for this side. And now watery paint, and tap it in. And then add some water to create some light blue ink. Got a little dark there. Can add some water, fan it out. And it doesn't have to be perfectly smooth on the inside. It's kind of nice if it isn't, because it's giving dimension again. So when we look down at our snowman, or snow person, or snow woman, we know that he or she has a round body made out of snow. Okay, so there are my 3 parts. And now I'm just gonna let these dry, and then later we'll be cutting out these 3 circles. And then you can watch the video for that so we know what to do. Sorry for about all the sound effects. I have my dog making noises in the background and my husband watching a show. Okay, so pretty easy peasy. The watercolor resist, and then doing blue on the edges of these 3 circles, making sure that most of your blue is on the inside, because we're gonna cut on this black line and we'll be using the inside of the circle or whatever's on the inside of the black line, and all this other stuff will be cut off. All right, thanks for watching. I also wanted to add that you can add light blue throughout the circle. It's kind of hard on regular construction paper to bleed out to the color, because this kind of paper really absorbs the watercolor. But if you can make a really watered down blue, so you can make it maybe on the side of your palette, and have a really watery brush. Sorry, my palette's so dirty. You can, and maybe dip your brush in the water after. You can make your snow person, you can gradually bring that color in a little bit. So I'm dipping my brush in the color, the watered down color, and then the water to make this really, really light blue. And then I can add some water to fade in that blue color even more. So just showing the dimension, how it's darker on the outside because it's round, and then it kind of fades in. So there we go. That's a little more faded in. And you can do that to the other ones too. So make a watered down blue, and then dip your brush in that blue and then in the water. And then try and add some more water to fade it in. I don't know why this one is so much darker. You can do that over here. Just really light, so it's faded in. we don't want to rub too much onto the paper with just a wet brush, or else the paper kind of starts to disintegrate. I can kind of see that happening. So just so it's faded in a little bit. All right, there we go.